Okay, long last, I have managed to find out of the USB, which is always mixed up, absolutely loaded with photos, but you can never find the photo that you actually want. It can take you days. So I had a hunch and I followed the hunch and I managed to find a photo of pigeons. My goodness me. You can't imagine how long it took me to find it. It was incredibly slow to load, incredibly slow to load up any photo that you want as well. Well, anyway, cut a long story short. When a few years back, I was in England and I was having my youngest son. I was quite heavily pregnant at the time. It was January, February, and it occurred to somebody in the house to raise pigeons all the way to Valencia in Spain, which I think was a bit daft, because I said, you're racing them to Valencia in Spain, they won't come back. It'll be too nice and warm for them there. They won't want to come back. You'll see. And in the end, one did come back. And I went outside when I saw it land on the roof, because the said person wanted me to record the time it came in and all that kind of thing. And so I did. But I was also saying, shoo, scat, get out of here. Because you're gonna end up in a stew pot, because you're the only one that's come back after days, eh? That was after days. They should have been back days before that. But he turned up. I said, "Don't you get my message? Aren't you getting my message, mate? Get out of here! Get out of here!" And I was waving my arms, and although I was wearing a really heavy coat and everything. He didn't budge an inch. He just wouldn't budge. In the end, I was saying all sorts of things to him, and I think, seeing as I wasn't going to let him in the pen, which I didn't, because I didn't want to see what would happen to him, you know. So he gave up and he flew off. Thank God for that. He finally got the message and never came back. And good luck to all the pigeons that stayed over in Valencia. They've obviously made some more family and relations there. Oh, that was a good one. And the second one is a pigeon flew into this house. They've got a habit of flying against the windows, and the window was open. There was this almighty crash. I was in this room, and the crash was in the other room. And I ran in quick to see what it was. It was a pigeon, quite frightened, under the table. And so I got under I didn't try to grab hold of the pigeon or anything. What I did was to gently pull the table out and open the window wide, because you couldn't open both windows. These windows are really awkward. You can only open one. So what I did was to pull the table apart, and he calmed down. He stopped flapping around. Because he was frightened. Of course he would be. And I'd got a sweeping brush, and I managed to get him to perch on the end of the head of the brush. And very slowly, very gently, I lifted him up, and I put him right on the window ledge. And I just closed my eyes because I couldn't bear to see. I didn't know I don't think he was really injured. He was just shook up, you know. He was just in a bit of a shock. And he looked at me, and he looked out of the window, and he flew off. I just couldn't bear to look, because I thought, yeah, he was going to take a dive and not come back. But he flew straight and strong, and without looking back. And I'm really pleased I was able to save him, because You just try catching hold of a wild pigeon. You're in for some real fun. I can tell you that. So I didn't do that. I took the other stance. I had to persuade him to get on the edge of the brush, because that was something that I didn't do every day, and he didn't do it every day either. But fortunately, he got onto the edge of the brush, onto the window ledge, and he flew out. I never saw him again. And really, when you think about it, pigeons here are being done away with. I'm not going to say how, because it's really cruel what they do to them. There's so few pigeons around, I decided to celebrate a bit whenever I see one, because there's so few around now. They've all gone back to the park where they can feed wild again. They look for the food in the grass and whatever. They don't look for people to feed them anymore. Pigeons are pretty smart. And the way pigeons have served humanity all over the centuries, being messengers and everything, I think it's really unfair the way they're being treated. There could be another way to stop them being done away with like that. That is all I'm going to say. That's just 2 stories that I came across. I love pigeons, but I wouldn't keep them myself because they're not well seen here. They're not liked, they're not wanted, but they've served to humanity for centuries as messengers. And goodness knows where else. The mind boggles. Okay then, that's it. Okay, bye.